Hey people, in the past couple movies I talked about why this "In God We Trust" is on the money here, what it has to do with the rebuses in the money, and you can see more about it in this All Eyes, Secret of God and All Eyes, and these about these Solomon's Pentacles, two movies about that. And you can look up these Pentacles of the Moon, and it'll tell you where you can find these verses. And this one here is in Psalms 56:11. That looks like I is a 2, but that's wrong. And you can see it here in All Eyes, Ball Eyes. Final M reads as a S. Ball Eyes, in All Eyes. And bite, the chit, BT, bite, and in the surround, BT in the surround, the chit, CHTI. You see that here, the BT, the B is in, and the tet is the surround, twisted around, the surrounding, and then the chet, CHTI, is the chet, is to divide, to separate the seal, the mark, to separate the seal mark, to separate the seal, yod, to work, to make. So analyze in the surround, to divide the seal work. If we click on this word, we can see other ways that it's been translated. I have trusted, trusted. It doesn't say we, it says I, but it really doesn't say I in the original writings either. It just says have put or trust. House of God, trust. And so they give that the meaning of "in God we trust." And so that's the code. So in the Hebrew, this is analyze, in all eyes, analyze the bite, the surround, the bite of the chit is what they say is we trust, or I trust. And so we start on this side, it's old Mercury dime, and it says liberty, and so the base word of liberty looks like liber, as in book. But if we look up liberty, it says a state of being free within society, free from oppressive restrictions imposed by authority on one's way of life, behavior, political views. And it's kind of strange how they would put that on one side and then put this symbol of fascism on the other. And so they say this word comes from Latin liber, the free. But if we look up liber, it says that's a Latin word meaning is the Roman god associated with Dionysius, the god of liquor and wine and orgies, and or could mean a book. A liber is a book. And then ty, that would be a multiple of tens, and that doesn't fit. It would create an adjective indicating a state or condition or quality. That would fit better. You would be Dionysius-like. You would be free to drink and have orgies, the liber, Dionysius-like, liberty. And so that gives me a clue, to go back and investigate what they call a book in the ancient writings, because book-like, just don't fit here. But over here in this BERTY, the Brit is the covenant in the Hebrew, and it means in the writ, B-R-I-T, in the writ. And the T-I is the writings, in the old Egypt, that'd be the feminine. All the gods would have a name, and the feminine would have the same name, but they would just add the T-I on it. So I never stop there. I always read everything forward and backwards. And if you look at it like that, the Libra is the book, and the tie is where it's binded together, the book tie. And so if you're reading a Hebrew book, the book tie is on the right side. When you start flipping, you'll be flipping from the back. And if I read this the other way, it's to make treble. Yod, the hand, to make treble. And you can see rebel in there. You want liberty, make the treble. So treble, it means the right hand. If you was playing music on piano, the bass would be your left hand, treble would be the right. But a better way to describe it would be, refers to the frequency of high range, the higher end of human hearing. Only the higher end of the humans are going to get this. And if we read the letters, the L is the bind, to make in the first. A bind would be called a book. The bind, make in the first. T, the writings, the written work. And then the next thing that jumps out at you is this big fast here. So at the governmentmint.com, they'll tell you a story about the fascists dying. And you can see on this, it did have a UM underneath here. You don't see it on that other, it's wore off. And they'll tell the story about this Adolf Wyman's design for the Mercury dime. Incorporates the ancient Roman symbol for authority, the fasces. And they tell a story that it only became a symbol of a cruel regime, in the time of Italian dictator Benito Mussolini. But that's a lie. It's always meant fascism. But the dime came out in 1916, about the time of the plague. And that was about the same time they commissioned this Lincoln Memorial to be built. For everybody that don't know, the Lincoln represented fascism. And that's what all the Southerners were fighting about. They didn't want to be part of the fascist system. And what it means is big government control of everything. The people in the South that were fighting, your chances of being killed in the Civil War, being from the South, being rich, were about the same as getting COVID-19 and dying from it. It was the poor people that were dying because they were fighting fascism. They didn't own slaves. They wanted their own property, and they wanted to do what they wanted to do on their own property. They didn't want big government telling them that they couldn't self-medicate with what they were growing. And you can see it all in the symbolism and heraldry. This is the first United States flag back in 1775. And it was created from this British red ensign, and they just cut it down here and they took the fly end off of it and made their own flag. And so all this heraldry, it has meanings in the flags in the different places. You have to understand what that means. And so this come from the cross of Michael, and they're crossing out the old red, the British control, the fascist control was the red. And so the flag of Mike looks like this. And so when it's flown, if Mike means that it means the duty medical officer is on board. It's the medicine flag. And oftentimes on board a ship, you'll see that the medical officer actually outranks the captain of the ship. And this is ancient knowledge. You can see the Michael in the Hebrew language means who is like God, or who is equal to God. And that was the medical officer. He outranked the captain. And that was the blue cross of Michael. And he controlled the serpents. And so the story they give us about the Civil War is a crock. And that's why Jefferson Davis looks like Abraham Lincoln's twin brother. But it was all the red killing off the blue. You know, that was the fascism trying to kill off the liberty. So it used to say unum down here, e pluribus unum. And so the pluri, you know, that's plural. And you see the rebus in there. The plural rebus, that means more than one reading. Rebus is the way that the alchemy in the language is written, the rebus. And it's the plural, the more than one in use, make ibus. You know, the toth was the ibis, to make in use. And then the unum that was here is un, is when, connect from. And it tells me here that the book of the right, the treble, you know, I would read it as Hebrew, and so I would start here. But I see that this starts with an A, and so I would read this backwards first. And so now it's Mary, but this is the same word as and God said, Homer, the control, the captain of the ship, Homer. And then JK, to Jack, the Homer, the control Jack, to steal the control, America, Homer, the controller, Jack. And then here would be foes, F-O-S, the enemies, the tates. The tates is where your word dictate comes from. Tate means the controlling mouth. You know, the tater is what we call our governor down here, is old Tater. Tater Reeves is his name. And then the debt, D-E-T-I-N-U, the debt in two. And these two stars here, these are called mullets. And they're not necessarily stars, they were spurs. Like a spur on your heel. And this is a code here. You know, it takes 360 degrees to get around an object, a circle. You know, if you had 360 flat sides, they would be turned 1 degree each. In a square, you know, you have 4 90s. And this is telling you to divide 360 by 5, the 5-pointed star. And so that's saying 72. Code 72. And I got a movie, 10 movies ago called Code 72, and it explains the Septuaginta code. And that's how the Greek and Latin are writ. So if we keep reading this, you know, in the Hebrew, it's amid, you know, amongst us, amongst the know, the know, the gnosis, the knowledge, amongst the ones that know. But when you read this back in the Septuaginta, you know, you got pluribus, you got more than one rebus in here, more than one writing, and to unite them, unum, to unite them, to connect from. And so this code 72, you take these last two letters, it means Septuaginta, separate the last two. And so this America now becomes Ka, the soul of the ruler, the Ka, the giving life of the Homer to make. And over here at this United, you would take this, the ED, and it's the do, NIT, and that would go with the last two letters here, ES. The do nights. And then stat. The do nights, the stat. And this is just two letters here, so it's just still read of. The do nights, stat of. And then to Ka, to the giving of the command, make. And so they put this evil witchcraft in your money, and every time you pass money, all you do is you enforce their spell. It's all in the spelling. And then when you read this down here in the Septuagint code 72, it's now neo, meaning new, Latin for new. And then the MEDI, the new medicine, the new medicine. And so the new medi, it means the new ways to control, to control the soul, is the money. Instead of chains and whips, they got a new way to enslave you, the neo-medi, the new medicine. And so this fascist is laying on a bed of mistletoe. I don't care what they say. You look at this and look at mistletoe and it's identical. And so mistletoe would kill a tree. Mistletoe is a common name for a obligate hemiparasitic plant. And so it's a parasitic organism that cannot complete its life cycle without exploiting a suitable host. It looks like this, mistletoe. And you can see it here, the little bulbs. And it's a fascist usurping, cannot complete its life cycle without a host. And we are the host. The command to jack power, the foes, the enemies, the tates, the foes, the tates, the enemies would to dictate, to control in word, debt, the debt into, the neo, the new medicine. No longer chains and whips, but now debt. The debt into is now, the money is now our in God we trust. Alright, I'm going to cut this off here. Good day.